Are you sure?
Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never ask a bride why she's getting married. Don't wear a skirt on a windy day. Deodorant is not a shower. Don't sniff chili flakes. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
The headline least acknowledged out of this general election is the return of the Muslim vote, not Muslim political power or the rise of a new Muslim leadership or a re-mainstreaming of a marginalized large minority, India's largest minority, but just a discovery of the power of the Muslim vote. Significantly, the results came just days after the Prime Minister lamented in one of his many TV interviews, in a flurry of TV interviews, in one of those, that many Muslims still believed they could determine who would rule India. Speaking to Times Now, he said, and I quote, I'm translating from his Hindi, I am saying it for the first time, मैं पहली बार कह रहा हूँ, I am saying it for the first time to Muslim society, to its well-educated people, introspect, आप आत्म मंथन कीजिए. That's the expression he used. Exact translation is introspect, आत्म मंथन. Why are you falling behind? What is the reason? Why did you not get any benefits in the Congress era? Introspect. The feeling you harbor that you will determine who to install in power and who to remove from it, किसको कुर्सी पे बैठाएंगे, किसको उतार देंगे, this is ruining the future of your children. Muslims are changing all over the world. And then, of course, he goes on to say that he goes around the world. He says the Muslims are changing. The Muslim world acknowledges him and respects him. The Muslim world is adopting yoga and so on and so forth. Now, it doesn't look like the Muslims listen to him very much. See the results in Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, the two states which have made this result what it is. Because remember, the BJP fell short of a majority just by 32 seats. More than that difference has been made in just these two seats. So even if the BJP has got more seats in Odisha, Telangana, some in Andhra Pradesh, they've not been able to compensate themselves for the losses they've suffered in Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. See the results in Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, for example. In both, the India bloc's constituents have a larger vote share than the NDA this time. All right, in UP, it's very marginally larger to this side of the decimal, but still, this is a state that was the BJP state. For the India alliance to get ahead of the BJP actually is quite a shift in national politics. This kind of a change and also this kind of an improvement in West Bengal was never going to be achieved without the Muslims voting for the India alliance en bloc. Because all previous data from exit polls and other research tells us Muslims always vote strategically to defeat the BJP. Then, if that was always the case, we need to ask why they have been so spectacularly successful this time, especially in Uttar Pradesh, and why it did not work over the past 10 years. Further, we also need to ask why did this not work in Bihar and Assam, two more states with a sizable number of Muslim voters and a strong India challenge. In fact, the Muslim presence in Assam is a lot larger than in Bihar or even Uttar Pradesh. It's about the same as in West Bengal. Please note that in none of the three Lok Sabha elections in the Modi era, 2014, 2019, 2024, nor in the Vidhan Sabha polls of 2017 and 2022, has the BJP fielded even one Muslim candidate for any of UP's 80 Lok Sabha or 403 Vidhan Sabha seats. Yet, it's been securing almighty majorities. So what brought about this dramatic turnaround this time? This is also the BJP's biggest worry. Knives are already out in the party and knives are probing the party's most critical fault line for and against Yogi Adityanath. Without recovering in Uttar Pradesh, the BJP's decline threatens to become chronic and progressive. Remember, the heavier the object, once it begins to go down, it gathers momentum on the way. For the BJP to reverse this, the time is now. They can't waste any time. That is the reason I say that if they are not able to do this, this could become chronic and progressive. The West Bengal result has destroyed exit pollsters' reputations and astounded both the BJP's supporters and adversaries. Unlike UP's Uttar Pradesh's 20%, all figures, by the way, are rounded off and approximate since we haven't had a census since 2011, which is a bummer, but we'll talk about it at some other point of time. So, unlike UP's 20%, Muslims make up about 33% of West Bengal's population or voter base. Yet, the BJP had won 18 of its 42 seats in 2019 and seemed poised for many more this time. What reduced it to just over half of the earlier tally now? In spite of all the predictions and all the effort that Prime Minister Modi himself put in, and all the propaganda, the use of agencies, the raids, the arrests, the cases on Mahua Mitra, etc., the disqualification, we know all those stories. Let's get on with our analysis. In all states where it can get seats, the BJP follows a simple formula. Get more than 50% of Hindus to vote for you and you are home, because the rest of the Hindus will be divided. This is what worked for it in Uttar Pradesh, rendering the 20% Muslims politically irrelevant. In West Bengal and Assam, the larger Muslim percentage required that the party get about 60% of the Hindu vote. These outcomes, especially in Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, reverse a decade-long phenomenon of the Modi-led BJP's politics, making the Muslim vote irrelevant in the big national picture. The answer to all the questions we have raised so far about the turnaround in the power of the Muslim vote is a very simple one, namely the Hindu vote. It is a well-established fact that since Muhammad Ali Jinnah left India with his Pakistan, Indian Muslims have never accepted someone from their own community, from their own faith as their leader. Not even Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. They have always looked for Hindu leaders they could trust. It was mostly the Congress until 1989 when the faith broke with the unlocking of the Babri Ayodhya site, and then the 1992 destruction of Babri Masjid. The vote banks then moved to other forces that promised the same protection. All the other forces were led by Hindu leaders, mostly the old Lohiites in the Hindi heartland, Mulayam Singh Yadav, Lalu Prasad Yadav, and the left in West Bengal. In Maharashtra and Kerala and other parts of the south, in the absence of alternatives, the Muslims generally stayed with the Congress party. Some pockets of Muslim leadership emerged in distant geographies, for example, Hyderabad and also Lower Assam. We'll come to that in a minute. The Muslims were not able to give power to their newly chosen leaders by themselves. It is the leaders who built coalitions with sufficient number of Hindus. That's why it is the Muslim-Hindu coalitions or Hindu-Muslim coalitions that won elections for them. Without a sufficient number of Hindus joining in, there was no way just the Muslim vote could win them elections. Mulayam and Lalu built formidable coalitions with Yadavs and some other backward classes. They left with Bengal's large Hindu underclass and the Congress with its own concretized vote banks south of the Vindhyas. It worked in the Hindi heartland as long as the vote was split 3.5 ways. That is, either SP or RJD, SP in Uttar Pradesh, RJD in Bihar, either SP or RJD with BSP, BJP and the Congress. So in Bihar it was 3 ways. There was also JDU or Samta earlier, and in UP there were 3.5. That is SP, BSP, BJP and Congress party as the half. You could then rule a state like UP or Bihar with just about 28 to 30% of the vote in that 3.5 way split, as Mulayam did in 2002, Mayawati 2007 because she got the Muslim vote and some upper caste vote to move to her with her Dalits, Akhilesh 2012, and in addition to them, Lalu repeatedly proved the same theorem. The trick was to get at least 1 or 2 caste-based Hindu vote banks to add to the Muslims and you were home. The rise of Narendra Modi shattered this formula. More Hindus moved to him, leaving the Yadav and Mayawati fortresses. So what changed in this election? First, the same Hindu leaders of the Muslims changed their discourse over the past 5 years, almost never aggressively talking up Muslim issues. See their silence, for example, on Shaheen Bagh protests, on CAA protests. They seemed distant from all of that, and very often they were accused of having dumped their secular cause or of starting to take their Muslim voters for granted. That Muslims have no choice, they will vote for us anyway. So why should we even speak in their favor? That's why so many of the young people who've been in jail for a long time have found no support from the opposition, from the secular opposition. Check further. If the BJP fielded only one Muslim in this Lok Sabha election, following 7 in 2014 and 3 in 2019, it is understandable. 7, 3 and 1. This one was in Malappuram in Kerala. He didn't do too badly, he lost, but he did get Dr. Abdul Samad, he did get 85,000 votes. But the Samajwadi Party fielded just 4, and the Congress 2 in UP out of 80, and Mamata 6 in West Bengal out of 42. The effort was to play down or mask their dependence on Muslims. The Muslim clergy, radical voices all stayed quiet. The BJP was therefore denied the space to play with polarization. Think about why the BJP ratcheted up the issue of atrocities against women in Sandesh Khali the way it did. All data tells us that the reason Mamata is able to deny that 60% of the Hindu vote to the BJP despite such massive polarization, the reason is the loyalty she commands among women, not just Muslim women but also Hindu women. The BJP thought Sandesh Khali would dent that. It failed and we have the results. In fact, Mamata did even better. It looks like it could be that the targeting of Mahua Moitra, a prominent woman leader, and also of the kind of language that was used about Mamata Banerjee, the attacks on her, actually rallied and united her female support base. Otherwise, she would not have got this result. There are straws in the wind elsewhere. In Assam, Badruddin Ajmal drew a blank. A delimitation exercise had been carried out in a way, don't ask me how and by who. It was carried out in a way that a lot of the Muslim vote was concentrated in one constituency, Dhubri in Lower Assam, instead of influencing about 3, because a lot of the Muslims, mainly migrants from what is Bangladesh now, they live in that region and they would have influenced about 3 constituencies in the area. Delimitation was carried out in such a way that most of those Muslim votes got confined or concentrated in one constituency, Dhubri. See it on the map and see where it's located in Assam and how close it is to Bangladesh border. In a straight duel, the Congress party's Rakibul Hasan didn't just defeat Ajmal, he won by the largest margin for any candidate in India. In my book, this is a good example of the shift in the Muslim mind to the old normal, a return to parties capable of collecting a sufficient number of Hindu votes to build genuinely secular coalitions and vote banks. The Assam and Bihar exceptions that we mentioned earlier are easy to explain. In the first, in Assam, the absence of caste divisions denied the Congress more Hindu space. In Bihar, on the other hand, the BJP allies Chirag Paswan and Jitan Ram Manjhi kept the Dalit vote together, unlike Mayawati, who lost it in Uttar Pradesh. It is for all these reasons that we see the return of the power of the Muslim vote in partnership with among Hindus as the standout indication of future politics. What we see now is the return of this Hindu-Muslim coalition. We say this is the return of the coalition era. The return to the coalition government era in the big picture has indeed been caused in turn by the return of another coalition, that is the Hindu-Muslim vote coalition.